Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing playing another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Jump into some bite down boxing. My last video on Deontay Wilder, I said I wasn't gonna say much more until he had a fight, and that's one of the reasons I'm coming on and talking about this. Is he did speak while being on Brian Custer's The Last Stand podcast. He did speak about returning to the ring in the first week of January, and then came back and said through February or something. And this is kind of crazy when you're listening to a guy who can't really explain anything, much of anything, in a coherent fashion. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Quickly before I get into, I only got 4 points to talk about, but I don't. This isn't to be a hater of the man or to really attack him in a nasty way. But he really reminds me of this character in a movie called The Soldier Story. And there was a brother on there named C.J. Memphis. And he was from down south, talked like the stereotypical down south brother would talk. And then similarly to Deontay Wilder, he was really powerful with he was the power hitter that the squadron needed for their baseball team. Check out the movie and let me know if you see what I see. But so I just mentioned, he said he told Brian Custer, and I'm still waiting on someone to ask him the one question that I have, if we're going to continue to entertain the cheating accusations of Tyson Fury. But he said, he planned. But I think this is one of the positives in this interview was he said he's going to fight in the first week of January, and then he comes back and says to February or through February. Like if you're fighting in the first week of January, then you would be fighting the first Saturday in January. I mean, really? I mean, you're a former heavyweight champion of the world. You would fight on Saturday night. So if you say the first week of January, that would be the first Saturday, right? Can you give me that? But anyway, neither here nor there. But, he said he's resumed training. And, he said that now he's saying the same thing as what Fury was saying is we're not going to wait around. I can't put my career on hold for him. People need to see me back in the ring. Fans need to see me back in the ring. Now, another thing that's very confusing, and again, that doesn't really make sense. If you're ready to fight, then why haven't you added your this is November. This is mid-November. If you're ready to fight, why haven't you added this new person to your coaching or your coaches, to your coaching lineup or coaching staff? Why hasn't that happened yet? So again, just doesn't make any sense to me, but it's his career. Another thing that gets to me that I don't understand, he says that, he tells Brian Custer that I chewed JD's ass out. I gave him a lot of my mind. I straightened his ass out. I got in his ass. But you fired Mark Breland. Which was who was a weaker link on the team in this whole scenario? Who was more detrimental to you being successful that night? Breland and whatever he did, I'll get to Breland next, or JD's in this glove situation. Now, the fact that you keep going to, they shut the lights off, they shut the camera off before they were getting ready to fight. To me, this is not really that big of a deal because I'm thinking it's kind of a mind game for one. But who would get ready to go do some dirt and let the entire world know exactly when we did it or we're going to do it? Secondly, just because they shut that camera off, that doesn't mean that there aren't probably at least a dozen people in the room, in the locker room or dressing room. But there is probably another camera or two also in the room of guys standing around with handheld cameras. So that's not the end all be all to me in that. But again, I'm just confused at how JD's just gets off with like a strong verbal warning, if you will. All right. So then the next thing, number three, with Mark Breland. If you listen to him, he doesn't go into any detail on the water situation with him with Breland spiking the water allegedly. Now maybe he doesn't go into that because that's part of what he's holding back in case he is going to file this lawsuit. You know that he does talk about going to court, so maybe that's why he doesn't go into this. I give him that if that's what he was doing, but he really goes at Mark Breland because of the whole throwing in the towel thing. That's really what he focuses on. He quickly shifts away from anything with tampering with the water or spiking the water. He spends almost no time there and really talks lengthily about Breland throwing in the towel and how he knows that shouldn't happen, and that's really what his argument is with him. So, is your issue about being poisoned, or is your issue about the fact that he ended the fight? What's your issue? It seems like your water being spiked would be more of an issue. But again, he's focusing on the towel. The fourth and last thing, I'm just dying for anybody that's gonna interview any more of these interviews. When it's so, and I give Custer a lot of credit because he tried to ask some follow-up questions. He tried to ask him to zoom in on a couple of things or go a bit deeper on a couple of things, but I think he realized who he's talking to, and it's only going to get wilder, for lack of a better way. It's only going to get more. It's going to be more out of control, and it's not really going anywhere. So, Custer had to make a decision of what he's going to take a stand on, and just let that be the final word, and let's just move on. But the one thing that I'm waiting on somebody to ask the man is, you've pointed the finger at everybody, and you said how everybody has conspired against you in this moment because you're so special. He's such a special human being. He's a rare human being, and all of the stuff that he's in love with himself about. But can somebody just ask the man, like, why at no point in time did you ask Kenny Bayless or say anything to JD's that something is wrong with his gloves? Why, if this man had an egg weight in his glove, you've been fighting for 14, 16 years or whatever, you don't know that something is significantly different about this glove? You don't, I mean, while you now, again, maybe he's saying because I was drugged or the muscle relaxed, whatever it is. I guess maybe he's saying he was so out of it that he's not even picking up on any of this. Okay. But then the other thing that I'm not getting, I could see some of the glove tampering stuff from the first fight, but I really didn't see, with a guy that's hitting you with power punches, I didn't really see the floppy glove stuff and none of that in this second fight. But he's made this comment a couple of times about the glove going into his ear and snatching flesh from him. Got to keep it with the biblical theme. But when have gloves been like that Venom stuff in the movie where, at the top of the glove, like it can just go up in the ear and grab something? Like, I didn't see any blows or any time where Fury was laying on him, shoving the glove up in his ear canal or anything. I just saw punches land. So to sit and make it like the tip of the glove or the surface of the glove strangely went up, as it came into contact with the side of his head or his ear and went up into the ear canal, and that's above my understanding. I mean, seriously, I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't really understand that part of it. But that's really about it, man. I watched, I think I had like 4 or 5 minutes left of the video to watch. And And I guess that's the end of it is, even though all of this stuff really happened, the thing that he harped on the most and talked about the most, and that he drove home the most, was he was cheated, and that Fury needs to keep up his obligation. So that's what I'm saying. You're saying multiple things here versus just zooming in on and focusing on one thing, and you know, and possibly trying to get this rematch. But to sit here and talk about all this stuff, and all this stuff was done and everybody worked against me and his track record, blah blah blah. But you got to keep your obligation, you know. But you gotta keep your obligation. I need you to fulfill your obligation. You promised me, and I. So I guess for me, like, it would have been better. I mean, by now, you know, 8 months later, several months later, just stick to one thing and work that. And then, you know, again here, lastly, and we get on off here, but to like poison the fight, at a certain point, you know, you gotta, if you really do want the rematch, why would you continue to sit here and throw all of this other stuff out here that kind of works against you know, the public really having real interest in the third fight. So again, just kind of all over the place. Hey, what's up, box fans? I'm getting ready to jump off here, bro. But yeah, at some point, you know, streamline the message, and if you really want to fight, maybe just stick with the whole line about, you know, that you gave him, that you threw him a lifeline when he was down, and stick with that. But all of this other stuff, it's just a lot of inconsistencies in it, and you know, to ramble on and on and on about some of this stuff and just really not make a whole lot of sense, with some of it, it's just not. It's just not all adding up to me. And then, like I said, to close the whole argument with, you got to come see me, you need to do right by me, I did right by you, you're not a man that keeps your word. That's just like contrary to your overall statement on the man. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, again, I'm not trying to hate on that man. I'm not trying to make fun of him in this moment where he seems to be grasping at a lot of different things, still struggling with the fact and not wanting to accept that he was defeated. Just find a way to get to the third fight. It seems like you might have, you know, some kind of legal standing to help that happen. Just get to that, and just try to secure that third fight. And I think it's good. That's what I was saying at the beginning, was just like with Canelo, hopefully you get some strong legal representation involved, and you can find a way to get some kind of some remedy here, or rectify the situation, and get that third shot to go in there and kind of prove, you know, that Fury wasn't the better man. I think that's the best possible outcome, was going that route. To sit here and try to win in the court of public opinion, and you know, throwing these details around that you think are fact, that you believe wholeheartedly are fact, I don't really know if that's the right way to go. But obviously a lot of people want to hear that and stand with you in that. So, you know, who am I to say go on a different route? Anyway, man, that's kind of the Bite Down Boxing take on it. We'll see what happens next. We'll see what happens, whether he fights in the first week of January, although he doesn't have a new member, the new training team put together, no opponent lined up or anything, or if it's back in February, or, you know, if it drags out in court, or whatever they do legally, you know, if it has the litigation. We just have to wait and see. So anyway, like I said, man, my name is Wood. Thanks for rocking with me. And let me get on out of here, man. Bite Down Boxing. Don't let them count you out. Peace.